White House Blue Room. And yeah, we're expecting him in a few minutes' time, Gillian. It may be that you have to come back to us, but it may not have been a day of announcement. Certainly, on both sides, UK and US, they have been briefing not to expect any great progress here. Nothing to see here seemed to be the message, only there clearly is. A glance at the headlines gives the lie to that. It's not every day a Russian president threatens war with the West. What they've been discussing around the table is a way forward on Ukraine, because they have to discuss that. Discussing a change in strategy. To discuss anything less than a change would be a dereliction of duty. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky would certainly see it that way. The agenda for these discussions was certainly redrafted by Vladimir Putin with that red ink warning. War with Russia, he said, is what would ensue if long-range missiles were used to fire inside Russian territory. So to that extent, and by extension of those comments, Starmer and Biden are staring down the barrel of serious escalation. How they tackle that is a problem. And I suppose the challenge is to call Vladimir Putin's bluff without causing catastrophe. That would have been the challenge during that meeting, which has lasted something around 1 hour. I'm just looking at the Marines wedging open the door. Maybe just stay with me for 30 seconds or so, Gillian, just to see what the outcome of that is. I mean, there wasn't much chat, certainly at the start of the meeting. You heard President Biden making introductory remarks, a polite welcome, I suppose, to Sir Keir Starmer, saying that they would be talking about the special relationship, everything that means. But of course, what's relevant now is what that means to a world facing a degree of crisis, not just in Ukraine, but in the Middle East. They were both topics up for discussion as President Biden, of course, crafts a legacy. He has limited time to implement a stewardship on world issues that he has failed to thus far. And to that extent, his presidency has that air of failure about it. That will grate with him personally. It causes serious problems, of course, in those particular corners of the world who are looking for solutions and are looking to the American president to help them deliver solutions. So the Biden legacy would have loomed large inside the Blue Room, and I'm just looking, you're probably seeing the shot I'm seeing, photographers leaving the room with the thumbs up sign, which has to carry a significance, and you can see members of the UK delegation, the British ambassador leaving. They were around the table side by side with Sir Keir Starmer in those discussions. Like I said, they've lasted something just over an hour, much to be discussed, including that's the special relationship itself and what it means to both parties. Economic ties between the UK and the US post-Brexit, that's clearly an issue that would have been up for discussion. Still, the key agreements to be made on that. So perhaps Sir Keir Starmer will be asked about that as he comes out with his Foreign Secretary David Lammy right now.
Prime Minister, Foreign Secretary, did you persuade the American president to allow President Zelensky to fire missiles into Russian territory?
Well, we've had a long and productive discussion on a number of fronts, including Ukraine, as you'd expect, the Middle East and the Indo-Pacific. Talking strategically about tactical decisions. This isn't about a particular decision, and we'll obviously pick up again in UNGA in just a few days' time with a wider group of individuals. But this was a really important invitation from the President to have this level of discussion about those critical issues.
But with President Putin threatening war with NATO, aren't you creating the impression that he's intimidating you?
Well, there's only one reason we're having these discussions, and that is because Putin has illegally invaded Ukraine. And the quickest way to resolve this, obviously, lies through what Putin actually does, because it's for him to end this. But we are having the discussion. We've stood with Ukraine. Ukraine has a right to self-defense. And we've stood united, not just with our allies here in the US, but across with our NATO allies. That's very, very important to us. But today was about it is obvious that in the coming weeks and months there are really important potential developments, whatever timetables are going on in other countries, and that's why I wanted to have this opportunity to talk directly to the President and his invitation here about those decisions in the next few months, but to make sure that those decisions were, as it were, pitched in the wider strategic thinking that we share in relation to Ukraine, the Middle East, and Indo-Pacific.
Prime Minister, what did you decide on long-range missiles? What did you decide with regard to...
Well, we had a wide-ranging discussion about strategy in Ukraine, of course, in the Middle East, and other parts of the world. This wasn't a meeting about a particular capability. That wasn't why we got our heads down today. It was to allow ourselves the space which we took, the time which we took, to have a strategic discussion so that tactical decisions can be seen within the wider strategy. And it was a really good invitation from the President. We've had a very productive, and we've come to a strong position. I'm very pleased that we've had these discussions. Thank you very much.
Sir, is Larry the cat being replaced?
UK poll with me, please.
Well, there you go, Gillian. The answer is
BBC Preston.
Prime Minister. He spoke a lot about strategy on Ukraine. He spoke about tactics. Didn't explain what the difference actually is between strategy and tactics, and didn't answer, I suppose, the key question for the gathered media. Certainly a key question for Vladimir Putin and for the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and that is to do with long-range missiles and where they strike.
Well, are you coming to New York?
That's the key issue, because that's the issue. That's probably a warning of war with Russia from Vladimir Putin. So take from that what you will. I mean, in answer to the direct question, there was no direct question. Clearly, that was a start of conversation for change, for a different strategy going forward with Ukraine. They will flesh that out further with other countries at the United Nations General Assembly, which is due soon in New York. And I suppose what we have seen here is the special relationship with trusting partners, having that initial discussion about where the rest of the Western allies can take it from there. I can hear it. No, I have yours, yeah, but they're telling me something with a mic.
Well done.
Was that working?
Yeah. It's just that when you were turning and stuff, it was sort of pointing away from you. It sounded like.
Oh, is that? Oh, I see.
But then you got the sound recordist, and you were doing all other things in that time. So.
Well done. I think that was a very good live broadcasting. That's what I tell you. The shot was very tight. I was like, I can't talk to him.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I mean, that was a bit nuts.
Ah.
Well done, Rob. Oh, bloody hell, what a day's work, eh?
Oh, yeah, okay. I'll get behind you. voice notes for my podcast. Stefan Rousseau, got a bit of Niall Stanley, got a bit of Emily Purcell Brown.
I'd like to not be on it.
There is no escape. And the thing is, well, you're the best podcast in the building. The most experienced. This time.
I think they hate us when we come in. Because this is the cool way. That's a good fun match.
Yeah, right.
Nick and Rebecca, you guys are good to go.